Good morning, my loves. So today I want to continue with our little composite chart series. And today's aspect is everyone's favorite aspect in the composite chart, Saturn square Venus. So we are dealing with two, well, we can say opposites. We're dealing with malefic and benefic energy. We are dealing with cold and quite warm. We are dealing with structure and comfort. We are dealing with the cold, harsh reality and, well, the fantasy, the ideal, the wants and the desires, the pleasures of life. So you can already see, right? It's very two very opposite forces. Now, these two opposite forces coming together in a rather difficult aspect, a square. It creates the energy of Mars, where it's like, no, I want it my way. And the other is like, no, but it's my way. Like, because look at your way, that's not working. So that's the energy of a square. Now, at the same time, as you can probably already see, we can learn a lot from the other, right? Because that other is so different. That other is so different that we can learn a lot if we become conscious. And that is always the idea with a square, becoming conscious through tension and through, I don't want to say rupture, but more like big challenges that we are facing. And the challenge in this square is to accept the limits, but also being open to the opportunity of pleasure. So when these two come together, let's look at these two real quick from the perspective of a trine, like a really positive aspect. In that aspect, it's really easy for us to see that, oh my God, we can really learn from that other. They have something that we don't have, and oh yeah, that's just juicy. Like let's join forces and make this work. So it's easy here to bring the structure and then take the flowy, sensual energy and mix it in a way that we have a divine union, right? Like I bring the security, you bring the juiciness, you bring the honey, and we can make this work. It's really, really beautiful. Like there's really this, we have the polarities are easily brought together here. So now when you go back to the square and you remember, okay, there is a way, right? Because we know from the trine that we can bring these two together. It's possible because the other has something that I can utilize. You know, Venus wants to feel more safe. Saturn can really benefit from this Venusian energy, this energy of falling, because Saturn, the energy of Saturn also has this wanting to protect energy. So Saturn likes the idea of protecting its little pearl, its little diamond. So when we can see that, when we can come to that understanding in the square, that we have some treasure in our hand on both sides. Venus has the protection, the structure, the container where she can flow in, right? Where she, like, it's her container and she can feel free to flow and secure and safe. She can roll back and forth, right? Like she can completely be herself in that container. And Saturn can see the beauty in being that container, protecting that Venus, and also at the same time guiding her forward. So like they are walking together forward, but not in a side-by-side kind of way, not in a 50-50 kind of way, but more in the way of, I'm holding you and we are going there together. You trust me, I trust you. So trust is a big one in this relationship. If you can't find the trust, like if Venus can't trust Saturn that he has her best interest in mind, the best interest of the relationship to push forward into the future, then this relationship can't work. And if Saturn cannot see the pearl, the jewel that he's holding in his hand, if he's just thinking, oh yeah, you're not this enough and you're not that enough and you're too bouncy. If Saturn just sees the Venusian characteristics as lazy or not doing enough or not contributing enough, then this union will eventually break apart, because Venus will get so tired of constantly being told that she's wrong, and Saturn is just going to be so annoyed with like this feminine. If Saturn, or that person that represents Saturn in that relationship, is not able to see the beauty in what is offered through Venus, and that really is the challenge. That is what the square is all about, right? Not being able to see, but through the tension and through the challenges, the obstacles, learning, becoming conscious and seeing, oh my God, I have this jewel here. I have this jewel in my hand. So yes, this is an aspect that is really tough, but it's absolutely workable. It is workable. You do need two people wanting to make it work too, though. You have to, and it is, I've experienced this one, and it is tough. It is really, really tough. I've experienced this one not in a composite, I've experienced it in a synastry chart. So where one person was the Venus, the other person was the Saturn. So it is slightly different there. But when it comes to the composite, so when you have this in the composite within the relationship, because we are talking about the relationship here, right? This chart wouldn't exist if these two people wouldn't be in a relationship. So within that relationship, if we have this constantly, it's like trying to open a jar, but it doesn't want to open, and you try and then you hurt yourself and you're like, ow, I'm giving up. That happens very often in these relationships. Usually there are other challenging factors in the chart though. Like this one alone is very workable, unless you have other difficult aspects. But because we are dealing with the malefic and the benefic here, generally with most people it's workable. So again, your consciousness is needed, your awareness is needed, and then not just your mental awareness, but also the embodiment, right? The understanding where you're triggered, where does the other person trigger you, what does that mean for you, what does that remind you on, and can you shift that? Can you realize that this is actually not about this person, what the thing that bothers you, right? Understanding that, doing your inner child work. Every time I'm talking about a Venus aspect, I'm thinking, okay, also Venus or a Saturn aspect, inner child work, please, let's do that. Let's go there. And if we do that, if we become aware, again, this aspect can actually be quite satisfactory. Yep, you heard me say that this aspect can be a satisfactory aspect if you do your own work, right? Your own personal inner child shadow work. And obviously also the other person has to be doing the same, right? The other person has to be open to that too. If only you do that, then obviously you will grow apart, because you will not be attracted to that person anymore, because there's no, the tension will be gone, because you're, you know, you went to another frequency, another level. So it's I really like this aspect because it teaches so much. It teaches both people in that relationship so much. So yeah, big teacher. Like every Saturn aspect is a big teacher, and usually, you know, they are old school teachers. These aspects with Saturn, they are not the gentle teachers that we have nowadays. They are like the old school teachers with like the, you know. Oh, you know what I mean. Let's try to keep it a little light here. So this was Venus, Saturn, and tomorrow, I don't know, what are we going to do tomorrow? I'll see. Maybe we will talk about Neptune aspects, because Neptune aspects in synastry and composite, they are the real challenge. They challenge you in a way that but we'll talk about that tomorrow.